Hello students, welcome you all to the On eTutor grade 9 mathematics class. Today our lesson is direct proportions. I will do this lesson in several parts. Therefore, this is the part 1 of the lesson. Before I explain you the definitions and the theoretical parts of the direct proportions, I would like to take you through some examples. This is the first example. In this example, I consider about apples. So, I have two quantities, number of apples and the cost of apples. I take the price or the cost of an apple as 30 rupees. Then when I have one apple, the cost will be 30 rupees. Then when I take two apples, the cost is 60 rupees now. If I take 3, cost will be increased to 90 rupees. Finally, I take 4 apples. Now, the cost of apples is 120 rupees. When I increase the number of apples, what did you see? You can see when I increase the number of apples, cost of apples was also increased. Therefore, when the number of apples increases, cost of apples increases. So, how to find the reciprocal of different numbers? So, you learn this one under 3 methods. You may have to find the reciprocal of a fraction, you may have to find the reciprocal of a whole number, or you may have to find the reciprocal of a mixed number. If you have to find the reciprocal of a fraction, it is very easy. If you have to find the reciprocal of fraction, the thing you have to do is interchange in the numerator and the denominator, right. So, consider you have 2/3. So, now you have to write the reciprocal of 2/3. How do you do? You simply interchange the numerator and the denominator. So, when you interchange the numerator and denominator of 2/3, it will be 3/2. So, 3/2 is the reciprocal of this fraction. Then, the next thing is finding the reciprocal of a whole number. So, when you have a fraction, now you know how to do the reciprocal of a fraction. So, you convert the whole number into a fraction, then you find the reciprocal of the fraction. And you learn how to convert a whole number into a fraction. How? When you have a whole number, you can write it as a fraction by taking the whole number into numerator and 1 as the denominator. Then you take the reciprocal by interchanging the numerator and the denominator. Okay? So, consider this example. Now, you have to find the reciprocal of 3. First, you write 3 as the fraction. So, it is 3/1. So, you interchange the terms, that is 1/3. Okay? Simply, if you have to find the reciprocal of a whole number, always you write it as 1/whole number. Okay? If you have to write the reciprocal of 3, it is 1/3. If you have to write the reciprocal of 10, it is 1/10. It is always 1/whole number. Okay. Then the final thing, that is writing the reciprocal of a mixed number. How do you do? When you have mixed number, what is the thing you usually do? When you have a mixed number, usually you convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. Then improper fraction is also a fraction, then it is the first case now. You know how to find the reciprocal of a fraction. So, when you have to find the reciprocal of a mixed number, the first thing is you convert the mixed number into an improper fraction, then it is a case of finding the reciprocal of a fraction, that is simply interchanging the numerator and the denominator, right. Consider this example for that one. So, here you have to find the reciprocal of this mixed number. So, first you write it as an improper fraction. So, what is the improper fraction? It will be 7/3. Let us move to the example. Here you get a watermelon. So, we consider this one as one whole unit. Then I divide this watermelon into 2 equal parts. Then each part is 1/2. Then in the next part, I divide in this watermelon into 4 equal parts. Then each part is 1/4. Let's move to another tasty example. Here I take a pizza. Then I divide it into 8 equal parts and take 2 parts out. Then the fraction of the parts taken out is 2/8. Then I divide the same pizza into 4 equal parts and take 1 part out. Then the fraction of parts taken out is 1/4. If you have the fraction 1/4, what is the meaning of that one? That means you have a whole unit, you divide into 4 equal parts and consider 1 part out of the 4 equal parts. Then now how do you represent 3/4 in terms of 1/4? If you take 3/1/4 like this, I take 3/1/4. Then consider about the in each and every diagram, consider about the colored part. Then you can see when you take the summation of these three diagrams, it will be 3/4. Therefore, you can represent 3/4 by 3/1/4. So, that is how we represent unit fractions. That is how we use unit fractions to represent other fractions. Find in the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral. Before finding this one, I would like to take you through an activity, and this activity is much similar to the activity we did in finding the sum of interior angles of a triangle. So, first you have to take a piece of paper. Then what do? You have to draw a quadrilateral on the piece of paper. So, you draw something like this. Then you name the 4 interior angles of this quadrilateral as A, B, C, D. Then you cut the angles and then you paste those 4 angles together without having any overlapping, and all those 4 vertices of the 4 angles should be coinciding. Therefore, you have to do it like this. Then what you can see, when you paste these 4 angles like this, you will get the result such that those 4 angles are covering the whole space. That means they are covering the whole space around a point. That means what is the total value of an angle around a point? That is 360 degree. That means you can understand with the help of this activity that the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. So, we take that result as a theorem. So, let's learn about how to divide 1.25 by 5. So, we write 1.25 and division 5. So, what is the thing you use? You use the long division method. So, we use the long division method. We first write 1.25, then the long division, then 5. Okay. So, we first consider about the number of 5s for 1. So, there are no 5s for 1. Therefore, 5 into 0 is 0, then you get 1. Then what do? You know, the thing you do is you take the next number, that is 2. So, before getting to down, you have to keep this decimal point here, right. So, you keep decimal point after 0, then you take this 2 here. Then what is the number you have? You have 12. Then you divide 12 by 5. You know there are 2 5s in 12. So, 5 into 2 is 10. Then what is the answer? It will be 2. Then what do? you take 5 to the below. So, you take 5 here, then you get 25. So, there are 5 5's in 25. 5 into 5 is 25. So, 25 minus 25 is 0. Now, you get the remainder 0. So, what is the quotient you got? It is 0.25. Therefore, the answer of 1.25 division 5 should be 0.25. Right. So, that is how we do the division of a decimal number by a whole number. The first thing is I consider about this triangle. So, in this triangle I can find a line along which this figure is having bilateral symmetry. Why do I say it is having bilateral symmetry? Because along this line, this triangle is divided into two identical parts. They are having, those two parts are having same area, they are having same shape, and also they are coinciding with each other. If you consider about the two parts, you can see when you fold this triangle along this axis of symmetry, then these two parts are coinciding with each other. Therefore, this figure is said to be bilaterally symmetrical. If all those three characteristics can be seen in the figure, then only we can say that is a bilateral symmetrical figure. Consider about this figure, it's a star. So, there you can see several axes of symmetry, and along each axis of symmetry you can see those three characteristics. When you consider about an axis of symmetry, the figure is divided into two identical parts, and in those two identical parts they are having the same area, they are having the same shape, and also when you fold the plane figure, those two identical parts will coincide with each other. Therefore, this is also a bilaterally symmetrical figure. Consider about this one. What can you say? So, I selected 4 lines. You can see 4 dotted lines. So, I consider about 4 axes. But are they the axes of symmetry? I can draw lines, but they need not to be axes of symmetry. So, when you consider about each line, you can see along each line this figure is divided into 2 identical parts, right. You can see when you consider about first consider about that vertical line, then when you consider the vertical line, the figure is divided into 2 identical parts. And what about the first characteristic? Same area? Yes, they are having the same area. Do they have the same shape? Yes, if you consider the vertical line, the 2 identical parts in either side of the vertical line are having the same shape as well. Then 2 characteristics are satisfied. Then what about the last one? Are they coinciding with each other? No. If you fold this plane figure along this vertical line, you can see the figure, those 2 identical parts will not coincide with each other. Therefore, the third characteristic is not satisfied. Therefore, is it a bilateral symmetrical figure? No. As the third characteristic is not holding, this is not a bilaterally symmetrical figure. Let us go through the subtraction part as well. You are given the same pizza example. Here you are given a pizza having 3 pieces remaining. So, the fraction will be 3/6. Now, you have to subtract 1 piece from this one. You are having 3 pieces, you have to remove 1 piece. That means 1/6. Then what will be the answer? You had 3 and you remove 1, then you will have 2 pieces remaining. As a fraction, it will be 2/6. What about the denominators? Denominators are the same, they are not changed. Therefore, in both fractions and addition and subtraction of fractions, you can see that denominators do not change. Denominators, if you have same denominators, answer will also have the same denominator. And also this is the end of the fractions lesson. Let's meet with the next video on next lesson. Have a nice day.